Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle. That's the name that's been creating quiet waves in and outside the Vatican lately, while Pope Francis continues his humble and revolutionary mission as the head of the Catholic Church. Many have started wondering what the future holds. Who will lead the Church when Pope Francis steps down or can no longer carry the immense responsibilities of the papacy? Among the names being whispered in sacred halls and public conversations alike, one name keeps standing out: Tagle. So today, let's take a closer look at who Cardinal Luis Tagle is, what makes him a standout figure, and why many believe he could be the next pope. Cardinal Tagle is not just a respected religious leader. He's a symbol of hope, humility, and global inclusion. Nicknamed the Asian Pope Francis, Tagle shares a similar tone with the current pope: compassion for the poor, openness to dialogue, and a deep connection with everyday people. His story, his approach to faith, and his leadership style all point to someone who could carry the Church into a fresh and hopeful chapter. To understand why Tagle is being seen as a potential future pope, we first need to understand the kind of leadership the Catholic Church needs today. The Pope isn't just a religious figure. He's a global leader who shapes the lives of over 1.3 billion Catholics around the world. He is the visible head of the Church, but also a symbol of unity, peace, and guidance for people from all walks of life. He has a voice in global issues, from poverty to climate change, from war to human rights. His words carry weight not only in cathedrals, but also in political halls, public debates, and social justice movements. The current Pope Francis has done something unique. He's opened up the Church in new ways, bringing warmth and humility to a role that once seemed distant and overly formal. He chose to live in a small guest house instead of the grand papal apartment. He eats with others in a shared dining hall. He calls regular people who write to him. He speaks from the heart, often leaving behind complicated language in favor of honesty and kindness. This is the kind of leadership that has touched people deeply. But Pope Francis is now in his late 80s, and though he continues to serve with great passion, his health has been a topic of concern. He's openly said he may step down if the role becomes too much, just like Pope Benedict XVI did back in 2013. And that naturally leads to the question, who will continue his legacy? One name gaining serious attention is Cardinal Tagle. Born in 1957 in Manila, Philippines, Tagle grew up in a modest household. His experiences shaped his worldview and faith, particularly his deep care for the poor and vulnerable. These values weren't just words for him. They became the driving force of his ministry. He was ordained as a priest in 1982 and quickly became known for his ability to connect with people from all backgrounds. Whether it's a grand cathedral or a small, humble village, Tagle carries the same energy, listening, smiling, and offering gentle guidance. He makes complex teachings simple. He speaks with stories, warmth, and clarity that make people feel seen and heard. In 2012, Pope Benedict XVI appointed Tagle as a cardinal, a major step that placed him in the spotlight of church leadership. Since then, Tagle has taken on even more responsibilities. He now leads Caritas Internationalis, the global network of Catholic charities helping people affected by poverty, disasters, and social injustice. His work spans continents, dealing with issues like hunger, inequality, and displacement, always with a focus on dignity and compassion. What makes Tagle even more notable is his global mindset. He speaks several languages, including English, Italian, and Tagalog, and has experience working with people from different cultures and faiths. In a church that is increasingly global and diverse, Tagle's ability to connect with a wide range of people is a major strength. He's comfortable in the Vatican, but he's just as comfortable in the slums of Manila or refugee camps in Africa. This flexibility and humility could make him the perfect leader for the modern Catholic Church. Now let's look at what a pope actually does. The Pope is considered the vicar of Christ, meaning he represents Jesus on earth. This is a sacred role that goes all the way back to St. Peter, one of Jesus' closest followers. According to Catholic belief, Jesus told Peter, "You are the rock on which I will build my church." Peter became the first bishop of Rome, and ever since then, every pope has continued that legacy. It's a role full of tradition, responsibility, and global influence. The Pope speaks not only to Catholics but also to the wider world, on justice, peace, truth, and mercy. Pope Francis has brought a unique spirit to this role, one that challenges rigid systems and brings focus back to the people. He's spoken openly about helping the poor, protecting the planet, welcoming migrants, and reaching out to those who feel excluded. He's also worked hard to make the Church more transparent and accountable, especially when dealing with painful topics like abuse scandals. His leadership has inspired millions, but it's also been met with resistance from some within the Church who prefer the old ways. That tension between tradition and progress is part of what makes choosing the next pope such a crucial moment. Tagle's connection to Pope Francis is strong. Not only do they share similar values, but there are also signs that Francis sees Tagle as a possible successor. Tagle was appointed by Francis to several key roles in the Vatican, including prefect of the Congregation for the Evangelization of Peoples, a powerful department that handles missionary work and outreach. This role is often given to someone the Pope trusts deeply and sees as a global thinker. It's not just about administration, it's about vision. And Tagle clearly shares Pope Francis's vision of a more inclusive, people-centered church. There's also been a lot of speculation that Francis is already thinking about his successor. He's made quiet comments suggesting he hopes the next pope will continue pushing for justice, mercy, and openness. Many believe he's quietly mentoring Tagle for the job, not through formal announcements, but by giving him opportunities to lead, speak, and grow on the world stage. Of course, choosing the next pope isn't a popularity contest. It's done through a very old and sacred process called the conclave. When the papal seat becomes vacant, either due to death or resignation, cardinals from around the world gather in the Vatican. Only cardinals under the age of 80 can vote, and the group usually includes around 120 voting members. They enter the Sistine Chapel and begin a process of prayer, reflection, and voting. Everything is secret, no phones, no outside contact. It's meant to be a deeply spiritual moment where the cardinals seek guidance from the Holy Spirit to choose the right leader. Votes are cast on paper ballots, and after each round the ballots are burned in a special stove. The smoke that rises tells the world what's happening. Black smoke means no decision yet. White smoke means a new pope has been chosen. When that white smoke rises, the world watches as the new pope steps out onto the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica. It's one of the most powerful and emotional moments in global religious life. So where does Tagle fit into all this? He's widely respected among the cardinals. He's got deep theological knowledge, leadership experience, a strong connection to the poor, and a truly global perspective. He's also got a personality that makes people feel heard and loved, something that matters deeply in a time when many feel distant from religious institutions. But Tagle is not the only name being considered. Other potential candidates include Cardinal Pietro Parolin from Italy, who is the Vatican's Secretary of State, a diplomatic expert and a steady hand in international affairs. Then there's Cardinal Marc Ouellet from Canada, who has a strong background in theology and leads the department that helps pick bishops. Another contender is Cardinal Christoph Schönborn from Austria, who is respected for his interfaith work and calm wisdom. Still, Tagle stands out. He represents something different, a move away from the European roots of the papacy and toward a church that truly reflects its global community. With Catholic populations booming in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, having a pope from the Philippines would be a major sign that the Church is serious about diversity and inclusion. There's also something deeply personal about Tagle's style. He laughs easily. He cries during emotional moments. He doesn't hide behind big titles or fancy robes. He travels light, walks among the people, and listens more than he speaks. That kind of authenticity is powerful, especially in today's world where people are hungry for leaders who are real. But if Tagle becomes pope, it won't be easy. He'll face pushback from more traditional corners of the Church. He'll have to deal with difficult issues, from the decline of church attendance in the West to cleaning up abuse scandals and financial problems. He'll need to balance tradition with change, history with modern life. But many believe he's up to the task. His record shows that he doesn't run from hard conversations. He faces them with a steady heart and a compassionate spirit,